All right, everybody. Now, as you can see, the shade has gone dark. Souls, because I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring lately, and why is that there? Now, that's a spoiler. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, as we were. All right, so as you guys know, I've been playing a lot of, Souls. No, stop. Dark Souls, Elden Ring, that kind of thing. Yes. Now, I've included a lot more because I've been playing Elden Ring. I've I found where my system has been lacking, and lacking in flavor, lacking in diversity, if you want to call it that, and lacking in just the general variety of things that players are supposed to be able to do when creating a kick-ass player or character for their game. Now, before we get into what I have done, let's first look over the reason why I'm doing it. Not just for diversity's sake, but let's take a look at what we have an example of in the core set. Now, a spell effect. I've highlighted the relevant area where it says create an illusion no larger than an average humanoid to distract any, and this is the important part, non-legendary, non-mythos target. Now, in Magic speak, this means rares or mythics, so on and so forth. Because let's face it, in Magic the Gathering, there are a lot of powerful spell effects that just, if applied to anyone and anything, could nerf any boss instantaneously, any player instantaneously. Just, no strategy, no whimsy, just cast spell, enemy dead, in essence. And so I said, well, maybe if I make an ability to change that target, and I create like a template later that removes that limitation, then we can have power balance. And I looked back at it, and I fucking hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. It's sloppy. It sucks. It's awful. It just leaves a very that kind of band-aid just puts a foul taste in my mouth. I don't like it at all. So, what have we done instead? Well, what we're doing is we're introducing a bunch of new mechanics. We already have a few of them. For example, this one is for stress. And stress has a new twin called focus, which instead of giving a -1, gives a +1, but with a similar effect. And black has two new ones on its own. It has blight and cursed. And we will be giving each of these their own videos explaining what they do and how they operate. For red, we have bleed and frenzy. Each bleed is exactly what it is in Elden Ring. Additional damage for an amount of tokens added. But Frenzy's a whole different other animal, and you will be excited because it actually harkens back to something that Magic the Gathering was supposed to do with red, but kind of, left in the dust. So you will get to experience that form of play in the Shades of Dominion. And we also have two new whites, which is Blessed and Fetter. These are inverse portions of another. Blessed is purely preventing damage, and you have Fetter, which is a debuff and subtracts damage that the target would deal, and it kind of like hampers them. And so you have Blessed and Fetter. And then for green, for vitality, we have Poison, which is a staple for green. But in addition to Poison, we also have Serum. Serum is kind of like Poison, but with a Bane-like effect. The Batman villain Bane, he was addicted to venom, and when he hit the venom button, it gave him a huge boost in strength. Well, that's exactly what Serum is. It's a venom bonus, but like poison, if there's too much of it, it will subtract from your wounds. So clearing all of this, No, we're going to keep this up. We're going to keep this up. So, how is this going to change how the system works? Well, for example, let's say we have a monster. It's a pretty dragon. These instead of having spells that say automatically banish, automatically tap, automatically destroy, this creature, this gigantic dragon, is going to have a toughness, like most creatures do in Magic and in Shades of Dominion. And the new rule is essentially just going just a brief overview, just oversimplifying it for a little bit so that you understand what's going on. When the counters exceed this monster's toughness, this grand monster's toughness, then their effects kick in. So, for example, if you have if this monster has a toughness of, say, 6, it will be 6 fetter counters until you're capable of banishing it for a set amount of time. Make sense? It will need 6 stress counters before you're able to just exhaust it on a whim or make it vulnerable to susceptible to your illusion spells. That's another effect that we're going to have. It's going to need 6 bleed counters to take it. Actually, that's not how bleed counters work. So there is some diversity here between how these new counters will work, even amongst one another. But hopefully, you get the general idea. The toughness is going to be the new metric of whether or not a skill or a spell effect pops off. And I like that a lot, much better than what we had before. What else was there? We might need to rescale how toughness is adjusted uh, for, in case you want to throw a magic card that's a super, like that's a mythic rarity and it only has like, 1 toughness. There might be a new modifier for that. Uh, but that's generally how this new addition to the system is going to work. We're going a little more Dark Souls. We're going to have a lot more spell effects. We're going to have a lot more uh, diversity, for the lack of a better word. We're going to have a lot more mechanics for the Shade Mages to work with and play around with because I do not like just saying, no, this spell cannot target big, beefy creatures. You can target big, beefy creatures now. You're just not going to be, your spell's not going to have, your spells are not going to be able to have an effect on the big, beefy creature until you hit a certain threshold. Oh, that's what I was thinking. The effects from each individual counter are singular. So, for example, if the creature's toughness is 6, having um, 3 serum counters and 3 poison counters will do nothing. Absolutely nothing. You need the full 6 of each for any additional effect to kick in. That's what I wanted to add. So, Shades of Dominion is once again going Dark Souls. And it's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting, and over the next couple weeks, I will be churning out videos on how exactly each of these new mechanics are going to play in the system and how you can incorporate them into your spell crafting. Till then, go throw some shade, everyone. Bye bye.